again, over and over again. Never stop saying you're mine. Say it ever and ever so sweet, ever and ever so sweet, just like an old Valentine. When you say I love you, the same old I love you, they whisper in stories and plays. You can change I love you, the same old I love you, to oh such a heavenly phrase. So say it softly and gently, and then over and over again. Never stop saying you're mine. You've been so easy to love, so easy to idolize, all others above, so worth the yearning for, so swell to keep the home fires burning for. We'd be so grand at the game, so carefree together, that it does seem a shame that you can't see your future with me, 'cause you'd be oh so easy to love. It must have been moonglow way up in the blue. It must have been moonglow that led me straight to you. I still hear you say, dear one, hold me fast, and I start in praying, oh Lord, please let this last. Once in a while, will you try to give one little thought to me? Though someone else may be nearer your heart. Once in a while, will you dream of the moments I shared with you? Moments before we two drifted apart. In love's smoldering ember, one spark may remain. If love still can remember, the spark may burn again. I know that I'll be contented with yesterday's memory, knowing you think of me once in a while. If there's a cloud above, if it should rain, we'll let it. But for tonight, forget it. I'm in the mood for love. above. If it should rain, we'll let it, but for tonight, forget it. I'm in the mood for love.
Julia Frances Langford was born April 4th, 1913, in Hernando, Florida, which is a small town in Citrus County. Her parents were Vasco Cleveland Langford and her mother, Anna. The family later moved to Lakeland, Florida, where Frances grew up. She graduated from Lakeland High School, then studied music at the Florida Southern College. She won an American Legion talent show in the late 20s, leading her to a regular role with a Tampa radio station. In 1930, her mother, a former concert pianist, took the young lady to Miami to see a performance by Rudy Vallee, one of the time's most popular singers. Langford managed to get an audition and then was promptly invited to perform on his radio show. With a regular spot on Rudy Vallee's show in New York City, Frances performed on Broadway throughout the 1930s, while continuing to sing on radio broadcasts. Frances had a national hit song then with her recording, I'm in the Mood for Love, and it was in the 1935 movie, Every Night at 8. Some of the actresses she's worked with included Alice Faye and Patsy Kelly. Frances met America's handsome leading actor, John Hall. He was born February 23, 1915 in California, but his mother was Tahitian. She grew up in that South Pacific island. John Hall became an American film actor, best known for his playing a variety of adventurous roles for Universal Pictures. The couple married in 1934 and were Hollywood sweethearts. Frances then joins Bob Hope on his first performance for the Troops at March Field in California in May 1941, then toured with him on his initial long overseas USO tour in the summer of 43, and she did it again in 44. During one of their USO tours, she and Bob Hope were forced to leap out of a Jeep to avoid fire from a German fighter plane. They both jumped to their safety, and with Frances landing on top of Bob. Another time they spent the night in the basement of a hotel in Algiers in North Africa as bombs burst above them. A USO tour in the Pacific Theater was the time she was invited to take a ride in a P-38 fighter plane. During the flight, a Japanese ship was spotted, and the joyride was postponed until the pilot finished attacking the ship with bombs. Frances Langford traveled more than 1 million miles while entertaining the troops for the various USO tours. That was during World War II, and then the wars of Korea and Vietnam and the Persian Gulf conflict. She became known as the GI Nightingale and the GI Sweetheart. Frances later said, "Entertaining the troops was the greatest thing in my life. We were there just to do our job, to help make them laugh and to be happy if they could." At the end of World War II, Frances did a radio comedy series beginning on September 8, 1946, for the NBC show titled The Bickersons. In 1947, the radio show moved to CBS and continued until August 28, 51. The Bickersons was a radio comedy sketch, and it was very popular. She teamed with Don Amici for the TV show then, and so it was Frances Langford and Don Amici show in late 1951, a spin-off from their radio show. The duo played a feuding married couple. Frances Langford and her husband, John Hall, visited and fell in love with the region of Jensen along the Indian River in the mid-40s. They purchased 350 acres to build a home there. The couple then wanted to develop some of the acres so that others could share in this paradise area. In February 1947, 5 buildings were constructed to make up what was known as the Langford Hall Terrace Cottages, overlooking the Indian River. The cottages were of frame construction, 2 bedrooms each. It is only the very beginning of development of these 350 acres that Frances Langford and John Hall owned together. In 1948, they donated 20 acres of this land near her estate in Jensen Beach to the Martin County Commissioners to serve the community as a park. It would be named the Langford Hall Park, located on Dixie Highway just south of the Jensen Arch. The yacht base and harbor was also being improved by February 1949. Everyone loved John Hall and Frances Langford. They were the darlings of Hollywood and here in Martin County. Frances Langford's special Polynesian tiki hut on her estate was also known as the Hut. By November 1949, plans were being developed for a nightclub to be built on the peninsula besides the yacht basin, allowing access by cars and boats. A hotel with a very large freshwater swimming pool was going to be built behind the Langford Hall estate, and an additional 4 more cottages were to be added along with a second row of cottages behind those that were already in operation. Frances's brother James was in charge of the terrace cottages. The interior of this new nightclub would feature a collection of art objects collected by John Hall from Tahiti and the Bahamas, offering a true island appearance. There was plenty of property, with 500 feet frontage on the Indian River and 50 acres on the St. Lucie, some 200 acres inland. They wanted the hotel, the cottages, and the nightclub to be a real nice winter resort for everybody. During all their planning of the resort, the two continued to do shows and nightclubs, and they were filming movies. So the restaurant and additional cottage didn't quite yet get developed. In May 1951, a regular sail-fishing charter boat service was added for the guests of the original Langford Hall Terrace cottages. The captain was Ronnie Hill on a 38-foot boat that they named the Dolphin. The resort was managed by Frances's brother Jim and his wife Peggy Langford. The Langford Hall Park in Jensen opened up on July 1951. Raymar of the Jungle television series starred John Hall, who played Dr. Tom Reynolds. Raymar was an African title for a white medicine man. The show ran October 7, 1952 to the end of 54, with a total of 52 half-hour episodes. Most of the settings were supposed to be in Africa and some in India, but the film was actually shot in Hollywood. There were even some scenes shot along the South Fork of the St. Lucie River and other locations near Hall's Jensen Beach home. Most of the filming in Martin County took place in early 1954. Hall created this TV series and was its star. Plus, there were 4 theater movies that were produced between 1953 and 55, being expanded version of the TV series. Many items were produced with the series tie-in, such as safari hats, toy guns, comic books, board games, costumes, iron-on transfers, coloring books, jigsaw puzzles, and play sets. For Frances, things were different. In 1953, Frances with Bob Hope entertaining troops in Korea. With their separate interests and careers, Frances divorced her first husband, John Hall, in August 1955, but they remained lifelong friends. Langford acquired their Jensen home, a large citrus grove, the marina dock, and property along the Indian River, plus the group of terrace cottages also by the river. Hall got some of their other property, which he would later sell. While working up north, Frances was singing in a nightclub, and there she met Ralph Evinrude, whose family developed the outboard motor for boats. The two had a lot in common, both loving boating and fishing. They married in November 1955. Together, Frances and Ralph moved forward on those original plans of a Polynesian resort and restaurant along the Indian River. By 1960, the marina was part of the newly named Langford Terrace Villas, which included accommodations for yachtsmen. Among the 27 units were 7 cottages, 6 duplexes, 8 apartments, and 6 waterfront villas. Frances Langford Outrigger Resort and Restaurant became a reality by late December 1961. So, that early vision Frances had of developing the property along the Indian River as a place for people to enjoy a truly tropical paradise was accomplished. It remained a popular destination for locals and visitors alike for decades. Everyone loved going to the Outrigger. You just never know who might be there, including many of Frances's Hollywood friends. For years, Ralph Evinrude and Frances Langford were seen on the Chandelier, their beloved yacht. She went to Vietnam in 1966 with Bob Hope and the USO. Frances's first husband, John Hall, died December 13, 1979 in California. In 1986, Frances's second husband, Ralph Evinrude, passed away. Frances's famed Outrigger was sold in 1988 to Chuck Murrell and Harold Kaplan, who renamed the restaurant the Key West, featuring the Outrigger Island Grill. Frances's association with Hope continued into the 80s. In 1989, she joined him for a USO tour to entertain the troops in the Persian Gulf, meaning again that she and Bob had been through all of this during the Second World War, Korean War, Vietnam, and beyond. Harold C. Stewart married Frances in November 1994. In 1998, Fred Ayers, owner of Conky Joe's restaurant in town at the foot of the Jensen Causeway, purchased the former Outrigger for $1.5 million. The restaurant needed 2 years' worth of renovations, which included tearing down the old nearby Langford Terrace Villas. The restaurant, now renamed the Dolphin Bar and Shrimp House, did open with Frances Langford present on opening day, June 13, 2000. A special section in the lobby still contains original Outrigger and Frances Langford memorabilia. Frances's dear friend, Bob Hope, died July 2003. Frances was a supportive member of the Jensen Beach community and constantly donating money to this area. She was a great philanthropist, and generosity to the Florida Oceanographic Society, located on Hutchinson Island, was well known. Yet she did suffer from various illnesses in her later years. Frances Langford passed away in her Jensen home in July 2005. In 2006, the Frances Langford Heart Center was made possible by a bequest from her estate, opened at the Martin Memorial Hospital in Stuart. The opening of the Frances Langford Heart Center had taken some 20 years to bring to life these life-saving services to the community. This journey started in 1985 when Martin Health first applied for a certificate of need to build an open heart unit. In 2005, a $5 million gift from the Frances Langford Foundation was a major step towards bringing the Heart Center to life bearing her name. In 2008 was built the two-story Frances Langford Dockside Pavilion, named for her, which is an air-conditioned banquet space overlooking the gorgeous Indian River Lagoon. The hall, owned by Martin County, located within the Indian Riverside Park, includes more than 3,800 square feet of space. There's a caterer's kitchen and a wraparound balcony. It is a great addition to the county. There are some wonderful exhibits related to Frances Langford at the Elliott Museum on Hutchinson Island. Nearly all are personal items from Frances and for her husband, Ralph Evinrude. The singer, actress, and longtime Martin County resident, who also owned the Outrigger Resort in Jetson, was well known for giving to the community and being a staunch supporter of the Martin health system. When she passed away in July 2005, she left a legacy of generosity and caring for the needs of a community she so loved. Her war-related papers during her USO trips can be found at the Institute on World War II at Florida State University, which she donated to. There are two books that have been written about Langford. They are Florida's Thrust, Frances Langford by Ferguson Addison, and then Frances Langford, Armed Forces Sweetheart by Ben Omart. Now enjoy some video films of her music and her life.
I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. Funny, but when you're near me, I'm in the mood for love. Heaven is in your eyes, bright as the stars we're under. Oh, is it any wonder I'm in the mood for love? Why stop to think of whether this little dream might fade? We put our hearts together, now we are one. I'm not afraid if there's a cloud above. If it should rain, we'll let it, but for tonight, forget it. I'm in the mood for love. A cloud above, if it should rain, we'll let it, but for tonight, forget it. I'm in the mood for love. When a star is born, they possess a gift or two. One of them is this: they have a power to make a wish come true. When you wish difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dream comes true.